Hi, I'm Tim Jacquet, and I'm the Chief Operation Officer for Apple Capital Group. So, on my channel today, I am going to talk about financing, different ways that you can go for financing. You don't always have to go to a bank. There are nonprofit lenders like we are that you can come to, and we actually do the same thing for people that's not bankable. I mean, you're a startup, you're an entrepreneur, don't have a lot of collateral assets. We can do those particular things. And also, we can do the SBA loans. Usually, for bank loans, you need to be bankable. This means you should be operating for at least a couple of years, 2 years of tax return, you're cash flowing, you have some assets in the business, but also you have a track record. Here, you don't. You can actually start from the very beginning and from out of the gate. And this is the ways we're going to talk about how you can capitalize and put all your pieces for your loan together. So let's go ahead and talk about the alternative access to capital for entrepreneurs. Start off with real quick, kind of give you an overview. Apple Capital, who we are. We're going to talk about our products and services. We're going to talk about the CDFI, the banks, the SBA, the 7A Advantage Community Loan Program, the 3 C's or 5 C's of capital, tips for preparing your financing, expectations of the lender and the borrower, and questions. So the CC's of capital, access to the capital, courses, credit, collateral, are the main things that the banks look for. Also, they're really looking for collateral for first of all for default. But when the SBA, if it's a bank loan that's $24,999, you really don't need that much collateral, really none. But if you go over that amount, 25,000 above, you really need to have some collateral. They can do pretty much anything on collateral, a horse, a family heirloom, or a wedding ring. We can take some things as collateral. And also the proceeds that you take the loans out can be used for collateral as well. Understand CDFIs; those are community development financial institutions. Typically, there are profit and nonprofit uh, banks that and organizations like we are, which are nonprofit, that are certified, and we actually can do the loans ourselves. We're also going to talk about the tips to prepare your packages, your expectation of lenders and borrowers, also understanding the business and personal credit, financial statements, past and future. Even if you're a brand new business, you're going to have to provide some financials or projections, and they prefer to see at least 24 months in this plan. In that detailed business plan, cash flow for 24 months every single month, along with the 5 year projections. They want to make sure you're at least breaking even. You can't not It's not wise to lose money because also they're going to be looking at your outside income. They're not going to look at the income that's actually generated from the business. They're looking for the income that you have on the outside. So don't quit your job for number one because then you will get denied. They're looking for your ex, uh, income in excess to what your monthly obligations are. So if you make $10,000 a month, your obligations at 7,000. This means you have 3,000 left. And if you take a loan payment of 1,000 or 1,500, 2,000, you're good to go. You have a $3,000 cushion. You can actually reduce your expenses by 1,000, and that makes them more comfortable. So they're looking at what you have on your outside income, you and your spouse, that can service a loan, not the proceeds of the loan to service the loan, if that makes sense. Also, other sources of microlending and crowdfunding and investors. Our mission, Apple Capital Credit Services, is to help small business in one sense to access loans that they can't get from commercial resources. All in a nutshell, we help entrepreneurs and small businesses. Loan products, usually products from 500 to $500,000. Interest rates typically is at 10.5 or 18% for 2 to 5 years. And it can be extended a little bit longer. For an SBA loan, can go up to 20 years. And in some cases, for real estate, can go longer. Term typically SBA is going to be 10 years. Real estate loans can lend up to $5 million in Texas. loans for equipment, working capital, building purchases and improvements, inventory, marketing, and other needs that you need for staffing. Business education services also offered. We have experts that we work with that are very knowledgeable retirees from owning restaurants, construction companies, trucking companies, retail. We can be your mentoring and guide you through your industry if you just need just a leg up or get some more information. Also, we have monthly workshops, probably 10 a month, that's available in all areas of small businesses, from financing to social media marketing to regular marketing to reading financial statements and understanding financial statements. So those things are available, and most of them are free, and some of them are um, $20, some are $50. And if they're $50, going to be an all day session, a crash course session that will last from 9 o'clock, but also they feed you. They have breakfast and they have lunch and snacks. So that's to defray the cost of those services and copying. CDFI banks and the SBA. You can read here, community development financial institutions are private financial institutions. Some are profit, some are nonprofit. They're dedicated to deliver affordable services to help the disadvantaged communities to come into the economic mainstream. They're an alternative to traditional financing like your Bank of America, to your Chase. You really need to have some other things going for yourself in order to get those type of loans or some heavy collateral. The 7A Advantage loan is a pilot 7A loan. It was introduced in 2011 to meet the credit and management needs and technical assistance needs of small businesses in underserved markets. The pilot program is provided to mission-oriented lenders, which are us, primarily nonprofit intermediaries for CDCs that focus on economic development in those particular markets. If you're in the inner city or in a low marginal neighborhood, then you can qualify for those type of loans. These businesses are located to low to moderate income communities. Um, Also, they are located in empowerment zones. There are zones that the government actually wants to lift people up out of poverty, and they have services, mean loans that's geared to them with a good business plan and some uh, cash in the bank, in the sense that you can ask for this loan of $25,000. Payment might be $400 a month, and if you have a cash surplus of 2,000 or 1,500, you should be able to qualify for that loan. And it's going to look at your solid business plans, but you can't have heavy losses, or you're going to have some savings to help take care of those losses. Veteran loans have a special program. Some of the interests are paid down by certain funds for veterans, but veterans is 51% or more. Business that were need to be more than 50% full time. You need to be at least full time in the business to work in those to qualify for those loans. You can't be part time. You need to contribute at least 50% of the time to the full time for the business. And business operations for no more than 2 years. They're really for startups. Collateral details for 35,000 to 250. Going to have collateral. Interest rate is more than 6% prime, so it's a little bit more, probably a couple of points higher now, depending on the purpose of the loan and the useful life of the collateral. So if you buy a truck can last typically for 10 or 20 years. Likewise, if it's a trailer, it can live for 30. So it just really varies. What's the life of that equipment? If it's a copier, 3 years or 2 or 3 years. No revolving credit lines and collateral is required. Sorry about the slide here, but 7A eligible businesses are for-profit businesses in the United States. You cannot be a nonprofit business. I mean, you must be a legal business, start up in less than the last 2 years. So 2 years is the max, and you're in underserved markets, and it's not investment income properties and things like that. The five C's of collateral is credit, capacity, collateral, character, and conditions. Top three is going to be the most important. What is the collateral? What is your capacity to repay the loan? You know, what type of job you have and what extra money that you have for it. And also your credit history. For collections, you really should get rid of the collections, your charge-offs, your bankruptcies, and your judgments off your credit report. It just makes the process a lot easier if it's not there. You can get credit repair companies to do that for you, but in a sense that you want to actually have it off your report. If not, you're gonna have to do a lot of explaining to show that you're financially um, capable of making those loans. You know, if it's something in the last something happened at 7 years ago, yes, it doesn't impact your risk rating. So just in that case, that happened 7 years ago, 5 years ago, just get it removed. Character, they're gonna look and see if you have a background of criminal activities. If you are, they don't discriminate for felonies, but you're gonna have to explain it and do a fingerprinting, and you're gonna have to get your background ran by the FBI to confirm what nature of the felony is. So if you're rapist, you're gonna get turned down. If you had acts with a child, you're gonna get turned down, a minor. Um, if you assaulted people, aggravated robbery, you will turn down. However, if you murder someone, no, they think of that's an act of passion. You, unless you're a professional hit person, then yeah, it would be turned down. So that's when it relates to the character of the person. Um, and the conditions, you know, what the term's going to be like, and you know what industry that's in. Tips for providing, preparing for your package. Make sure you have a clean business plan. If you make sure it's thorough as possible, you can get graduate students to write it on Upwork for you, or a university to work for it for you for under $300. You had to do the financials and get it to them. And those things are available on our sites for business plans. And they use that template and they fill it out and make it really detailed, but not too long, not a booklet, because they're going to go to the financials first. Review the credit report and score. Also, you want to have at least a 650 and above. I would say if you can get to 700, it makes the application a lot better, especially 720 and above. Have understanding of your financial health. Um, Provide bank statements for the last 6 months. Make sure there's no NSFs, no overdrafts, because it will spark a question of what happened. So make sure they're clean, no NSFs, no overdrafts, even if you have a line, nothing. Provide the last 3 years of tax returns. If you're just in, if you're April, after the deadline has passed about a week ago, or I think at the beginning, yeah, it was last week. Um, you haven't filed yet. You filed an extension. Just include the copy of the extension you can fill out, and that return is due for personal taxes. As long as you pay your taxes, um, or estimated taxes, what you're going to owe, you can finish that return in August 15th or August 18th. I would say August 15th. Complete that return. And if it's past that, if business related reports are done, then that's going to be October 15th. So at the October 15th, everything has to be completed. So if you apply after that, they're going to ask for that current year. You also need to include your profit and loss statements, forecast for the next period, or if you've been in business for several months, they want to see where you are. Letters, recommendations, and resumes and contracts helps as well to get your loan approved. It helps with capacity. Our process for our loans, you can go to our website, applecapitalgroup.com, and apply now. And you can fill out the information and attach that information is asking for. Anything over 50,000 automatically will be considered under the 7A loan. You apply, you submit your docs, you have closing, and at the closing, you do repayment. Expectations for us, we're friendly, knowledgeable staff. The products that we offer for really is to gear towards your business. We're not going to give you a loan that's going to put you in a situation. And if we can't get there on the credit, we will ask you to go and for counseling and to either pay it off, the collection off, and show a receipt. Settlements doesn't look as good, but if the collection is willing to settle, they're just going to sell it. Sometime they'll take it off your report if you're making a do an agreement that that's part of the conditions. Be honest with your applications. You have issues. Let us know ahead of time so we can address that with underwriting. Then saying, I don't know, and let me get back with you. Kind of put that information, and the loan officer can put that information ahead of time so we're prepared to answer any questions if they have any. Here's our offices here. You can give a call at 866-611-7457 or our direct number. And pretty much you can just give a call anytime, and we're more than happy to help. Also, alternative for financing, I didn't put on this slide. You can do factoring. We'll give you there. That's mean they will advance you on an invoice that you received. So you have a product, you invoice the customer, and in a sense, that piece of paper, which is the invoice, you say you shipped it, and if you have an invoice, you can take that invoice the same day. We can fund that and to give you up to 90% of that, and the payment will come to us. We giving you 90% of that, and we take our 2 or 3% out when we get paid in 30 days. That hits that account, and we send the difference on to you. That gives you a cash, so you can buy the product the same day or the next day, or put on your credit card and use those funds to pay it off. The also credit cards is good options as well for business credit cards. Those don't show up in your report, your credit report, so you can have as many as you want, and that doesn't affect your credit at all unless you default. After 60 days, it will show up. They probably close the account down, and it will show up in your credit report. So outside of that, that's all I have. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me, Tim Jacquet with Apple Capital Group, nonprofit lender. We service loans in the United States. More than happy to help you. I hope this slide helps. And if you have any other questions, please reach out. Thank you for joining us today. Take care.